Hey guys, what's going on? Hey, I'm gonna go live here. Oh, one sec. Yeah, all right. So hey, I'm going live and I'm gonna touch on this affirmative action. I know everybody's emotional on it, and I absolutely every right here. Born in the '60s kid, so totally understand the major issues and how everybody's seeing it. But we're approaching everything from such a hostile emotional state, saying, "Oh, it got overturned." So the main question I always ask everyone is, who benefited from affirmative action when it was in place? And that's the key crux to this that I'm not going to touch. You can drop it in comments. Let me get over my comment bar here. You can drop it in comments. I don't care. It's one of those things that says it's an open discussion to go ahead and talk about the decline in Black males attending college, and a lot of these declines have happened because of just the systems that we've put in place that aren't advantageous. You got to have role models in school. You have to have stability. You have to have stability in your neighborhoods. I mean, even after looking at Iraq and Afghanistan, and in those two environments, you have to have what we call stage 4, phase 4 operations, which is you stabilize any neighborhood. It doesn't matter if it's in a U.S. or a foreign country. Stabilize it with the local officials and the local police force, and then you move towards the educational piece of getting young males into two categories, getting them into education and then giving them opportunities. And here's the thing: is what we found out dealing with the decline in people not being educated globally, because I've been all over the world, is that when people are uneducated, it doesn't matter race, ethnicity. But when men don't have opportunities, they will find opportunities, and sometimes those are not always the best opportunities. And we like to just try to frame this stuff as racism, and it's not always racism. It is a social, cultural practice that we have to clean up just globally. For a lot of everybody's got to clean up globally, even just not the United States. But one thing I'm going to touch on today is, let me really touch on the tip of the sentence of the unconstitutional. They calling the Supreme Court finding the affirmative action unconstitutional. The thing is that when you look at affirmative action, was put in place by the builder generation, who was trying to help bring equality after the civil rights movement. Absolutely, one spot on, 100%. They absolutely should have happened, on top of a whole bunch of other things that should have been transpiring along with it. And it wasn't just the things that the builders did. And I have this conversation all the time, because when I went back and did my research, I used to think it was the baby boomers, but it was actually the builder generation that was fighting for the baby boomers to have civil rights. So it's kind of awkward sometimes when you have a conversation with some of the people that were baby boomers, is how they're kind of disjointed, because by the time they were 19, 20 years old, they were in the 70s, starting to move out, buy things, look at what they're getting after, and the things that shape them. But my mom had this conversation with me a while back, and she said that Gen Xers didn't carry the mantle after the baby boomers civil rights movement. And there's a lot of truth to this. So the decline that we have is that you can't pinpoint it, just say it's just all racism. We have to overall look at everything in our society and state resources. And I'm going to actually agree. Ruben used the word denial of resources. That is absolutely right. But here's the thing, Ruben, and I'm going to touch on this real quick. When it comes down to resources, we all have community leaders, right? So I've learned over the years that most people in their own community don't know who their community leaders are. And so that's the other thing. So you got to be aware of who you're electing to put in charge of your communities, right? That's one. Second is, you're right. When it comes to resources, I still tell people this, and my mom used to say this, and my mom was kind of a teen mom, and then she, progressed in life, got remarried and all that. But my mom really instilled one thing: is she didn't tell us not to read or write. She didn't stop us from learning proper etiquette. My mom would have us sit down at the coffee table, and we were latchkey kids. Like, my mom would be working, my dad would be working. We'd go home, we'd sit out and do our homework. Nobody was like running the streets or and you're right. And I'll touch on it. Social media has really hurt a lot of the younger community. And I agree with that. So getting into this real quick, and the decline is, I looked at the numbers, right? So let me go back here. Let me see if I got it. All right. So when I went and looked at the problem, it's the lack of role models and opportunities. And Ruben kind of touched on resources, but it's a lack of role models. And Ruben, I will tell you this: this is the thing is that as a community, it doesn't matter what race you are, you have to have role models that people can relate to and shift. And if they have negative role models, and I saw this when I was in Iraq. People just wanted to go to work and work. They didn't want to go out and do insurgency stuff. But when there was a lack of role models and lack of opportunities, they found some ways to make money. And that's what happens in a lot of communities, just not the African American community. It happens globally, guys. Because the good thing about the sad thing, and I hate to say use the word good's bad, the good thing about it is I got to get out in the world and see the Africa, Iraq, and different other countries in the Eastern Bloc to see how they operate. But sadly, I saw a systemic issue of young men not having opportunities. All right. And for African American boys to want and to aspire, that us telling them to be doctors, lawyers, it's not perpetuated on TV. You don't see us as a nation putting all these positive role model things on TV, perpetuating African American males. We've done a horrible job as a society, constantly going back to whatever we put on TV, and you get what you get when you're not putting people in a positive light. And every time we talk about the shootings, I go back and forth with everybody on this. And because I'm an African American, I can't stand the fact that we kill each other, and I can't stand the fact that we have this is my minor groups of police officers killing citizens. Overall, everybody, we have a lot of group because most of my friends are police officers. They're really good people, and they really do a good job in the community working with everybody. So I hate the way the media stereotypes, shapes things just to get everybody wound up so it sells stories, when we really need to be looking at the positive side of good people doing great things. We need more graduation and less incarceration. And people ask me this question all the time: how do we get there? Well, we get there is it starts at kindergarten. And it means that we may have to build some structures so that those kids have a safe environment to do their homework so they can knock it out at school. You can call it babysitting, whatever. It's at some point in our society, we have to fix our own problems, right? And we need more Black males in professional jobs to be role models. Yeah, we have a small group that go to college. If you look at the numbers, and the numbers don't lie. I'm a data person. Numbers don't lie. We should not be having a 14% fall rate of African American males not going to college. Shouldn't be happening. We should be, aspiring those kids to want to go to school. And you got good people out there that are pushing people to say, "Hey, man, I need you to be in school. I need you to do this." Look, sports is one instrument of our system. The other is your brain. We needed to really push the envelope on teaching African American males that they have a brain and they need to apply it in academics and school. Now, how do we get there? It goes back to role models. It goes back to that bad situation in a class with a teacher that's disrespectful, that hurts that student's ability to want to learn. I've been there. I from Bossier City, Louisiana. I'm not going to say the teacher's name was 100 years ago, but I literally had a teacher put me in a corner pretty much and tell me, "Shut up, you're dumb, be quiet, and don't say nothing." Do you not realize that in the 7th grade, that impact that had on me as a human being? It had massive impact. But thank God, and I will say this man's name, Dr. Charles Thomas, my college history teacher, pulled me aside one day and had a talk with me and changed my freaking life, man. This dude put energy into me as a human being, told me what I could aspire to, gave me motivation. And I honestly, the trajectory of my life changed because of him, Jessica Wright, and all these other different people, Forrest Heard. And the list is long of people prior to me getting in the military, prior to me changing my life. And it's because they believed in me. And that's what we got to start at an earlier age for our African American males. We got to believe in them at an early age. Hey, man, everybody, you cannot have, listen, we all have, we're dealt the parents were dealt by the Lord, and it is what it is. But when regardless if your parents are aspiring or not aspiring, it doesn't mean that child should have to be a victim of their circumstance. Begin with the end in mind. Albert Einstein said it best: you can't solve the problems of today with the thinking of yesterday. We have to really open up our apertures and given opportunities. And those opportunities cannot just be placed on one group of people. Opportunities have to be built within your community. And I go back to not just Gen Team, but the Tulsa massacre, when they were building their own community, building a banking system, and making it happen. And yes, racism came in and destroyed it. Well, at this point in day and age, we need to get back to the Tulsa of building a community, putting resources in those communities, and making it happen. And it needs to be the people that live in those communities. Why aren't there grocery stores in the African American community? Why are there just convenience stores? We have to put emphasis on, with 100% of putting things back in the community that require stability, that give people an opportunity. I'm just going to say that, and I don't want my words. If I get canceled, okay. I am being brutally honest. 100. I'm almost 60 years old. Okay, so I'm almost 60 years old. I've seen a freaking lot in this country, and I've seen a lot around the world. So at this point, if you don't, and I was an educator, so everybody knows that, and I taught college and I taught high school. So everybody knows that I do have a background in education, besides aspiring to be in the military. And I didn't do too much in the military, just a little bit of stuff. All right. So when you look at workable solutions, we need to change that. The educational culture needs to shift. We need to put emphasis back in the classroom, and we need to make sure that we are addressing the issues we have. We need to place African American boys in higher classes other than regular classes. They need to be in classes such as honors classes. They need to be pushed academically to be the best version of themselves. Somebody pushed me. And I mean, if it was up to me, I probably would have been in the, and as you look at Steve Harvey, you look at all the guys that are kind of just above me in my age group, they were all putting special ed, putting all kind of classes because nobody cared. And they talk about this. We need to do better at assessing, and instead of, just throwing the baby out with the bathwater. And we need to build their self-worth, man. We need to change the rhetoric. If you don't have affirmative action, even the playing field, then we need to, as a culture, as a community, and when I say community, I mean everybody needs to get involved in making sure that we change the rhetoric on how we study. And then some of the kids don't have a good, safe home environment. It doesn't matter what race you are. There's kids on all sides in America that don't have a safe home environment. It's our job to build the study hall at the schools to help these students be able to aspire to be the best version of themselves and be able to get their homework done and meet their academic rigor, right? Yeah, raise teachers' pay. Then, we got to fix that. That's just killing me. And we need more male role models in the classroom. And we need to change the ideology of being a victim. We have so many students that believe that they're a victim of the system that they're in. However, I look at myself, and if people Google me, they'll find out what I achieved. Trust me, I've been into the situation where I was the only person of color in the room multiple times in my life. But the thing was, I never quit. There was barriers were put up in front of me. I've dealt with everything from confirmation bias, microbias, racism, to all kind of stuff. But the thing is, I never stopped grinding, and I never asked for a handout, didn't look for anybody to bail me out because there was nobody there to bail me out. There comes a point in your life where you realize the only person that can save you is yourself. And then the only way you save yourself is through education. And Nelson Mandela said it best: if you don't have an education, you can't exercise the rights that are yours because you can't read the rights or understand the rights. Guys, here's the deal. The affirmative action was found unconstitutional and it's turned over. We can get on all kind of banned platforms right now and argue back and forth if it was racism, it was this, it was that. That is not what we need to be doing right now. Now that decision has happened, we need to start thinking as a community. All right, so what do we do to improve this situation? Considering that parameter has been taken away. The thing is, I believe in finding solutions. There's, you can always say, I don't need to go back and look at any solutions or whatever. And we can complain and give the media more energy to push everybody, pit everybody against each other. But we don't need to do that. We need to stand together, start looking at what the situation is, and then improve it. And I honestly think we really need to be more aggressive at getting African American males back in school, giving them opportunities and pushing them away. And I got it. Social media is just destroying kids around the world. It's become like this thing. But you know what? we got to pull together, bring it together to make a difference. And I just wanted to jump on real quick and touch on this, because I'm just tired of looking at all the negative rhetoric on both sides, when we really, the situation is we need to address what we're going to do to fix the problems for young African American males, get them back in college, get them back with self-worth opportunities and sponsorship, and stop putting barriers in the way. And Ruben, I appreciate your comments, because you were spot on. As long as there's barriers in the way, we can never get ahead. And it's the same thing for women and genders and whatever else is, we're pushing out there. At the end of the day, we got to bring opportunities to everyone equitably, so people have the opportunity. You have the opportunity to succeed, the opportunities to fail, then learn from your failure and succeed. I've been there, done it all, and I'm still getting t-shirts at this old age of mine. All right, guys, I appreciate you. I always aspire to inspire. And if you haven't checked me out on Embrace the Power and embracepower.org, and check out our channel. We bring a lot of cool people on to talk about different things, from educators to Grammy stars to actresses, actors, to influencers. We bring everybody on our show just to try to bring some positivity to the community. And today, that's all I'm trying to do, is bring some positivity to a community that, instead of bringing rhetoric, I'm trying to bring solutions. And with that being said, keep it rolling. Later.